Have you ever met someone who, instead of clapping for you, waits for you to trip? Someone who smiles at your success, but tightens their heart with rage. Rumi said, the womb is the place where the light enters you, but jealousy builds walls so no light can pass. Today we journey into one of Rumi's deepest stories, the tale of a cunning vizier who poisoned pure hearts. And through it we'll uncover 7 clear signs that someone is secretly jealous of you. Signs that if you spot early can protect your soul and your future. So listen closely. As the story unfolds, hidden within it are the silent warnings that jealousy leaves behind, like footprints in the sand. Rumi says, jealousy is not the fault of the bright moon. It is the sickness of the blinded eye. Let's see how jealousy poisons even the purest gatherings of believers through the story of the vizier. There once lived a king, an oppressive, cross-eyed king. Rumi says he hated the followers of Jesus, claiming falsely that he was defending the faith of Moses. But hate had made him blind, just like the boy Rumi describes, who saw 2 bottles where there was only one. Hate had crossed the king's eyes. He could no longer see truth from falsehood. And close to this king was a vizier, the true villain of our story. A man whose jealousy was so deep, it didn't just ruin his soul, it ruined entire nations. The vizier saw that the Christians were growing strong, their unity was beautiful, their faith unshakable, their prayers a fortress no enemy could penetrate. But instead of admiring this light, he burned inside. Rumi said, if envy is in your heart, even paradise will taste bitter. The vizier celebrated not their victories, but dreamed of their fall. And that's how it is in real life too. This is the first sign that someone is jealous. They celebrate your setbacks, not your victories. You will notice when you succeed, not everyone claps. Some clap, but inside they curse. Watch closely. Those who disappear when you rise, but show up when you stumble, are not friends. They are envious watchers. So the vizier came to the king and said, Your Majesty, these Christians are dangerous. They hide their faith. We must destroy them from within. But how? He offered a dark plan. Cut off my nose and hands, hang me publicly, pretend to banish me. Then I will sneak into their hearts, disguised as one of them, and tear them apart from inside. Rumi says, the fox does not attack the flock when the shepherd is awake. He first sings the shepherd to sleep. The vizier wanted to make the Christians sleep with trust. He pretended to be one of them. He wore their clothes. He spoke their language. He even cried fake tears over their pain. But inside, he mocked them. He laughed at their trust. He despised their love. Rumi said, not everyone who wears the robe of saints is a saint. Some wear the cloth to burn it from within. In real life, jealous people do the same. They imitate you, but secretly mock you. And this is the second sign. They copy your moves, your style, your ideas, but behind closed doors, they belittle you. Look at him, they whisper, thinking he's special. They want what you have, but they hate that you have it. Slowly, the Christians accepted him. They opened their hearts, they let him teach their children. Their mistake wasn't kindness, it was blindness. Because Rumi says, jealousy does not knock, it slips in, dressed as a guest. The vizier taught them, but what he taught was poison disguised as prayer. He secretly divided them into 12 groups. To each group he gave a different message, different laws, different commands, contradictions stacked like bricks. Why? Because the jealous heart always seeks to divide. The vizier didn't openly attack them. He gave them good advice, but it was advice designed to confuse, advice that would make them weak. One group was told to fast. Another was told fasting was useless. One group was told to pray. Another was told prayer was foolish. Until the Christians, once united, became lost in endless arguing. In real life, jealous people often do the same. They give you confusing advice to sabotage you. And this is the third sign. They give advice that pulls you away from your true path. They might say, are you sure you can handle that promotion? Or maybe you're too inexperienced to start your own business. Their advice is not a helping hand. It's a poisoned arrow. Rumi says, beware of those who advise you with their lips, but curse you in their hearts. Now, as the vizier's plan unfolded, the Christians, once united by love, were divided by confusion, suspicion, and silent doubt. Rumi said, the heart that once beat with certainty becomes a drum for every foolish hand. When jealousy whispers, the vizier smiled in secret, because he knew a divided army defeats itself. A divided heart loses its way. The vizier didn't just divide them, he planted seeds of criticism among them. He would whisper, "Look how arrogant your leader has become. Do you see how lazy they are? How can he claim to know the gospel better than you?" He didn't praise their love, their faith, their unity. He only highlighted their flaws, their mistakes, their weaknesses. Rumi says, jealousy blinds the heart from seeing beauty. It only sees cracks in the mirror, never the reflection. And this reveals the fourth sign of jealousy. They highlight your flaws loudly, but hide your strengths. In real life too, jealous people rarely celebrate your strengths. Instead, they hunt for your small mistakes and magnify them. You could win 99 battles. They'll only remind you of the one you lost. Watch out. Those who never mention your light are often burning inside from your brightness. Meanwhile, the vizier had the Christians in his hands. But he wanted to go deeper. He wanted them to need him, depend on him, worship him. So he retreated into seclusion. He told them, "I am now forbidden to speak. Jesus has called me into silence. You must lead yourselves." And the Christians, heartbroken, begged him to return. Tears flowed, songs of longing were sung. They thought they had lost a saint. Rumi said, sometimes what you think is your cure is the venom of your soul. And this brings us to the fifth sign of jealousy. They only support you when you are beneath them. While the Christians were beneath the vizier, needing him, begging him, he was pleased. He let them cry. He let them suffer because their weakness fed his pride. The moment someone tried to rise, to think for themselves, he warned the group leaders, "If anyone challenges you, crush them." Jealous people, Rumi says, love the company of those who crawl, but hate those who fly. In real life, this looks like friends who cheer you on when you are struggling, but grow cold and distant when you start to succeed. They don't want to lose the feeling of being above you. They don't want you to shine without their permission. So they subtly encourage your dependency, but discourage your independence. Meanwhile, back in the story, the vizier had given each leader a scroll. Each scroll had a different teaching. Each leader believed he was the rightful heir of the vizier's legacy. The trap was now fully set. And then the vizier ended his life. Rumi said, the tree of jealousy drops dead leaves, even after the gardener is gone. The Christians wept over the vizier's grave. They cried for weeks thinking they had lost a holy man. But what they didn't realize was that a deadly disease had been left behind, planted in their hearts. The disease of division, the disease of envy. And so, after mourning, they began to argue, who will lead us now? I have the vizier's true scroll. No, I have the real message. Words turned to shouts, shouts turned to swords. Friend struck friend, brother killed brother. Thousands of pure souls who once prayed together now lay dead, piled like broken branches. Rumi says jealousy burns the harvest before it ripens. It kills the dove before it sings. That is the tragedy. That is how envy poisons even the purest hearts. Not with thunder, not with armies, but with whispers, with doubts, with wounds that look like friendship, but are deeper than any sword. Now listen carefully, because the tragedy was only beginning. The Christians, once united like a single flame, were now many weak candles, flickering, struggling, blowing out one by one. Rumi said, the thief does not steal the whole market. He blows out the lamps one by one until darkness owns the place. That is how jealousy works. Not in one loud explosion, but in 1,000 tiny invisible cuts. The vizier didn't just hurt the Christians himself, he set them against each other. Rumi said, when envy enters the heart, the first victim is friendship. He didn't need to strike them directly anymore. He whispered suspicions, created doubts, turned friends into strangers. And this reveals the sixth sign of jealousy. They stir conflict around you, so you feel alone. In real life too, notice jealous people will often not attack you directly. They stir conflict around you. They might whisper something to your friend. Did you hear what she said about you? They might plant suspicion between you and your colleagues. I think he's trying to take credit for your work. They create invisible wars where you end up isolated even though you didn't start the fight. Because when you're alone, you're easier to defeat. The vizier knew this. He knew that once trust was broken, the Christians could never rebuild. He didn't need to fight them anymore. They would destroy themselves. And so they did. Thousands died, not because of swords, but because of poisoned hearts. Rumi says Satan was not cast out by God's sword, but by his own envy. Among the wreckage, a few wise souls survived. They looked around, weeping not just for the dead bodies, but for the dead love, the dead unity, the dead trust. They realized what had happened, but it was too late. The vizier's jealousy had already done its work. The vizier had smiled at them. He had cried fake tears for them. He had kissed their hands, blessed their children, bowed in their churches. But behind that smile was a sword. Rumi said, some smiles are daggers, some embraces are traps. And this brings us to the seventh and final sign of jealousy. They smile with their mouth, but hate with their heart. In real life, the ones you need to fear most are not the ones who openly oppose you. It's the ones who pretend to love you while secretly sharpening their knives behind your back. Jealous people master the art of fake loyalty. Their hugs are hollow. Their words are sugar-coated lies. They'll say, I'm so proud of you, while praying for your downfall. They'll say, you're an inspiration, while boiling inside with bitterness. And sometimes you won't even know until it's too late. That is why Rumi teaches, pray for the eyes that can see beyond smiles. Pray for the heart that can feel beyond words. In the story, even after the vizier's death, the poison he left behind kept killing. The Christians continued fighting for years. The memory of their once glorious unity faded like mist in the morning sun, and all because they trusted the wrong heart, a heart darkened by envy. And Rumi warns us, even today, do not invite a snake to your feast. Even if it dances beautifully, it still carries venom. So remember, the 7 signs are not random. They are the smoke that tells you fire is near. If you see them early, you can save yourself. You can protect your soul. You can choose to step back and pray for them from afar. Because jealousy is not something you can cure in others. It is a sickness they must choose to heal themselves. The vizier chose hatred over healing. He chose division over devotion. He chose ego over eternity. And in doing so, he destroyed not only himself, but generations of pure hearts.